Fed and the Brotherhood. And just as we're going to open, I would like to ask I would like to ask Emily to open in a word of prayer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day and for the opportunity to gather here with open hearts and open minds. We are grateful for the chance to grow, to reflect, and to plan for the paths that lie ahead of us. Lord, we ask for your guidance today as we explore our talents, dreams, and goals. Help each person here, young and younger, to recognize the purpose you have placed within them and to find clarity in the journey toward fulfilling the purpose. We lift up our presenter, Mrs. Kerri-Ann Berrick. May you bless her words with wisdom and insight, and may her message inspire and empower us to pursue our callings with confidence and faith. Grant us focus, courage, and peace throughout this seminar, and may everything we do bring honor to you. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right. Thank you, Emily. At this time, we'll have Vinette Smith of the Women's Federation to do the welcome.
Good evening again, everyone. My name is Vinette Smith, and I represent the Women's Federation at Bethel. A warm welcome. It was warm today, you agree? It was a warm day, so it's the same warmth we are extending to you this evening. The welcome to all of you who are here in chapel. It's good to see the faces. And to those who have joined us online, we want to say a special welcome. It's a Saturday afternoon, and you could have been doing something else, but we thank you for being here with us. This is a seminar about career planning, and the title of it is How to Choose Your Ideal Career at Any Age. I'm going to be very honest with you. When I read it first, I was saying, this don't include me. But I was happy at the end that the presenter put on a little piece that says, at any age. So I was a little relieved, to be honest, that I could be present and to participate. A special welcome to our presenter, Mrs. Kerri-Ann Berrick. She is no stranger to Bethel. I was going to say, or me either. And we look forward to her presentation, which may help us to explore career options that align with our purpose, regardless of our age. Also, to our BICEP students, I think there are a few of you here. We want to say a special welcome to you. And BICEP means, for those who don't know, it means Bethel Youth Summer Employment Program. We extend a special welcome to you. This seminar is a joint effort with with 4 ministries of the church, namely the Women's Federation, the Men's Brotherhood, GIFT, which means growing in faith together, and 412 generation. The aim is to really have the young and the not so young in our church connect and fellowship some more, and to have some of our young people be involved in the Women's Federation and Brotherhood. And I'll tell you this, that there is no age limit in these 2 ministries. You can come whatever age you are. So we trust that the seminar will be beneficial to all. And again, we extend our gratitude for you to be here, and we welcome you warmly. Thank you.
Okay, and just to add to the introductions, I will be your chairperson for the afternoon, and I'm Mikhail Thompson, president of GIFT. So at this time, we'll have a short icebreaker I'm trying to see how best to do this with the online people involved. What I'm going to ask is for those who are willing to share one word that will define their career goal. So let me see. So if I were to use myself, my career goal is fulfillment. So I'm looking for my career to be fulfilling, something that I find purpose out of. So that's my own. So I'm going to ask if people are willing to volunteer, just go to the mic and share what your career goal is. Ariana, I see no? Not at all? Okay, Mandy's going.
Hi. Oh, right. Afternoon. My career goal is money. It's just that's about
Okay.
it. Money.
Okay, just money. Okay. I would like one of the older participants in the audience to share. Sorry. The elder young people to share their career goals or having been working, what's the most important thing you've gotten out of your career? Anyone who is willing to share?
Afternoon. Being useful. We always find ourselves in different roles to play, but at work it's always good to be useful. Always good to learn, and being useful allows you to learn different things and learn as wide as possible.
Okay, so being useful. So young people, if you got the money but you weren't useful, would you be happy? Oh, okay. I think one more person. Oh, we have a line. We have a line. You can go.
I just wanted to tie everybody's point in, but being adaptable. Because being adaptable might mean you'll get more money. It means that you'll be able to provide a service for your community where you'll be fulfilled in some sense. So, we're in a Christian space. So again, whatever we're doing, we have to try and serve others by trying to serve God. So being adaptable, I think, is very important.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Sister Janet is coming up.
So, as one of the older young people, I can see where Amanda is saying money, because that is important, especially in these days. And I can understand. But in my profession, I'm a retired nurse, and I think what gave me most satisfaction is caring for others. So I look a lot for that.
Okay, so caring.
Yes.
Okay.
My career goal was, I would say, purposeful. It wasn't about money. There was no money in it.
Are you saying the job was not financially viable?
No.
Oh, okay.
You eke out a living.
Wait, were you a
Teachers
teacher?
never got, yes, sir.
Yes, you sound like you're a
Good.
teacher.
Right, so you understand where I'm coming from. But I got more out of it than money. And now that I am retired, I am now recognizing how much I was giving in comparison to what I was getting. And so, money, yes, but someone says if you enjoy what you're doing, you never work a day in your life. And money should not be the main goal. Yeah, we need money, but have a purpose. Why am I doing this? What is it doing for me? What is it doing for others? How am I helping other people? And so that for me was the purpose why I remained in teaching all these years when I wasn't getting any money, but I was getting some fulfillment, some enjoyment. I was helping people, making a difference, and that's why I stayed.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Giles.
I am winsome. I'd say satisfaction in finding your purpose.
Okay.
Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing, and every day you wonder, why am I turning up at this field? What am I doing? What I'm doing? It makes no sense. So you have to find something that you enjoy and you find satisfaction in.
Okay. Thank you, Winsome. And I've heard a joke where somebody had a job that they liked, but the paycheck wasn't good. And then they switched to a job that paid well, and they didn't like what they were doing. So they said before they were happy 29 days of the month, and on payday they were sad. Now they're unhappy 29 days of the month, and only on payday they're happy. So with that, I'll invite Amanda to introduce our presenter.
Okay, afternoon again, everyone. Kerri-Ann Berrick is a dynamic, entrepreneurial HR professional with over 21 years of experience in the human resource development and strategic HR management. As the founder and managing consultant of Fidelity Human Capital Management and a creative, Kerri pursues her professional passions in both human resource development and lifestyle and architectural photography, and finds joy and immense fulfillment in both spheres. She holds a Master of Business Administration degree in Human Resource Management with distinction from the Mona School of Business and Management, as well as a Bachelor of Science degree in HR Development from the University of the West Indies, Mona. During her 14-year corporate HR career with the Grace Kennedy Group and the Port Authority of Jamaica, she acquired a breadth of strategic HR knowledge and experience, leading and supporting the design and implementation of strategic HR initiatives across the financial services, food, and port services industries. Since 2018, Kerri has provided HR consultation, project implementation, and HR support services to locally and internationally based small, medium, and large enterprises in the private and public sectors, primarily in the areas of HR strategy, performance management, recruitment, talent development, compensation, and HR process improvement. Her work includes several projects undertaken for clients in the financial services, the production and mining sectors, and public administration, as well as project engagements through strategic partnerships for clients in manufacturing, distribution, retail, digital marketing, and media. She also conducts workshops for corporate clients and special interest groups, like us. A problem solver at heart, she has a love for process improvement and automation projects and sees strategic HR management as a fundamental building block of the innovative, agile thinking organization. She is a member of Bethel Baptist Church, a mom, wife, life student, motivational speaker, and an advocate for embracing one's talents and multidimensionality. She lives by the code that one should give him or herself the permission to explore and pursue as many disciplines and interests as he or she chooses, wherever he or she can add great value. After all, in the words of Nelson Mandela, there's no passion to be found settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. Please give her a round of applause as she comes to us.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to give you a joke. So, as the distinguished, one of the distinguished Gigi's recipients, awardees, right? I mean, how fancy was that for her to introduce me? I should be introducing her. But my son sits in the pew, and while she's talking, he goes, "Who they talking about? Who is that?" And Mikhail said, "I don't think they knew what you did for a living or how important what you're doing is." So, I am quite honored to be up here today to have a little chit chat. I'm not going to be up here boring you to death, right? That's not my style. But you know what that means? It means that you're going to be part of my presentation. Are you ready to be part of my presentation? Yes. Fantastic. So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is my church home, so I do not feel like a stranger here. The strangest thing that I heard in all of what was said was my mother calling me Mrs. Kerri-Ann Smith Berrick. She's never called me that before. Anyway, so guess what, guys? Sir Lindon, ready to put up the presentation? Let's just give them a minute. And while we give them a minute, so you know what today's presentation is about, right? What is today's presentation about? Make money. Indirectly, yes, he's right. So Amanda, I think you'll be happy when you get to the end of this. But so will the rest of you, based on what I heard you share. Tell me what you think today's presentation is about. Sorry, it wasn't a trap to tell you to come sit up at the front. What is today's presentation about? Making better choices in terms of career. Yeah, he's close. So, we're talking today about choosing your ideal career at any age, right? And I'm seeing a wonderful range of young and younger persons before me. Very excited to be talking to you about that. Still not see my presentation, but I think we're going to continue. All right, so I want to know where we are. What? Ready, thank you. All right, it's ready. So some of my fancy fonts didn't quite turn out, but at least you can read it clear, at any age, right? That's one of the most important factors, because guess what? Career planning is not just for the young. In fact, one of the things that I've learned in my 20-something years as an HR practitioner, hopefully, by the way, I'm not dating myself and that hopefully you still think I look like 20-something. But one of the things that has broken my heart over the years is that I've seen so many people force themselves into making a living, doing things that they absolutely hate or just don't enjoy. And what do you think that does? Can you imagine that you get up every single morning? You get up at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Some of us have to be out from 3 o'clock to catch the bus, catch a taxi, whatever it is to get to work. Then you go and you go through the traffic, and the bus conductor ball out whatever what's it not. And the people must squeeze you up. Or you're in traffic and you sit there and you vex and you go through halfway through traffic and then you reach work. And then you go and you sit at your desk. And for the next 8 to 12 hours, because some of us work some long hours, you sit there doing something you absolutely hate. And you do that for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, and then some of us younger people go on to retirement. And then what? And then they look back at their lives and they go, what did I do with my life? Here's the thing. Oftentimes we go about it all wrong when we're trying to decide which way to go when we're talking about our careers. So, for our bicepites, right, who are here, I want a show of hands. How many of us know what they want to do for a living? What is not a profession? What is it? You want to be a YC? I got something for you. All right. How many of us know what we want to do for a living? I see 3 hands. 4. But there are like 20 of us here. So the rest of us don't have a clue. Don't know what you want to do with your life. Good. You're also in the right place. Awesome. All right. So I'm actually here to help you determine how to do that in one, I can't say the most because I don't know everything, but one very efficient way that if it's done right, you probably won't miss. You ready for it? Yes? I want to hear you. Look here, it's interactive, you know. Yes, yes, I want to hear it. All right, great. So, next slide. So, what is that first word on the slide? Great. Okay, that's in the heading. What's in the section below? What's the first word in the section? On the brighty? Journey. I want you to say journey. Journey. Okay. Keep that word in your back pocket. What I'm here to share with you today, my key objective is to be a guide. I'm not going to tell you what your ideal career choice should be. That's not my job. I am, however, going to help you to figure out what that might be. All right? And it's a journey. If you look there, what do you see in the picture? You see a sign. You see signs. What else do you see? What is it sitting on? What is the post sitting on? A map. Thank you so much, Shadeen. Boy, I'm saying, and him thinking bright, you know? Him thinking bright. Thank you, Shadeen. It's a map. It's a career map. And you have a lot of people who are just walking aimlessly on the ground, as Mikhail said, right? They don't have a clue where they're going. But there's something about how the different paths, because guess what? We have so many different things we can do. There's so many options. There's no one way. But what is very important, and I want you to say the word for me, intersections. Say it louder, man. Intersections. I want you to pay attention to that word as well. So we have two key words today. What was the first one? You're listening. And what was the second one? Nice big word. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is journeying to the intersection of what? Who you are, what you love, what you do well. That making sense to you so far? If you do it right and you keep those three things in mind, those three things can help you to identify which path is the best path for who? Except for me. For me. Not for me. Me don't know where me I go already. For you. All right? Next slide. Now, before we jump off into that, there are two things that a lot of people tend to get confused sometimes. A job versus a... How many people know the difference? Don't look at the screen. Mrs. Giles. Mrs. Giles says she knows the difference. What's the difference? Without looking at the screen. Perfect. A job is what you do to make a living, to make a money, right? It's usually a shorter term thing. How many people are in a job right now? Go on through, Amanda. Why not afraid for talk? How many of you are in a job right now? You're in a job? Okay, you're in a job. No, that job, you're probably more dependent on that job for money, your day-to-day. Mikhail said, for those whose jobs pay well, but they're not getting any fulfillment from it, they're unhappy for the 29 days of the month, but only happy on payday, because that's why you're there. However, a career is a longer-term endeavor. And you tend to pursue a career for the money. Is it for the money? Somewhat? 50-50. I heard that word. You have a passion for it. 50-50. Your job may be part of your career. Or it might just be what you're doing to just make a money. Because look, you need to make ends meet so you can pay JPS, especially in this heat. And with JPS, bill and water, bill and so on every month. But when you think about the job you're in, how many people see that job as something they want to be doing for a very long time? A long time is 3 years are true, right? To this day and age. I see no hands. Because you don't want to be doing that job forever. However, if it is a part of your chosen career path, you see it as what? A stepping stone. It is where you go first to get to something else. The career is your life's work in a particular profession. And you're not just pursuing the career for the money. You shouldn't be. You're pursuing it because it's genuinely something that you get fulfillment. You remember that word? Somebody said it earlier. You get something out of it more than just the money. All right? Keep that in mind. So, next slide. Hello. Thank you. So, now that we know the difference between a job and do we know the difference between a job and a career now? Can I move on? Great. The next thing that you want to know. So, what did I say that this was? This is starts with J. A journey. Now, how many of you have ever been on a journey? Everybody, right? You must have me too, right? What's the first thing you need to know when you're about to start on a journey? Where are you going? Right? Where are you going? What else do you need to know? Huh? How are you going to get there? I like you and your P words. Passion, preparation. How are you going to get there? But what is the most important question before you set foot on any road to go anywhere? Are you financially stable? Do you have the bus fare to get out on the road and get to where you're going? Right? Actually, it's where you're standing. Where are you right now? If you don't know where you are, you won't know where to get to where you want to go. Make sense? No? Not make sense? If you don't know where you are, you won't know what route to take to get to where you're going. Have you ever had to call somebody and say, help, I'm lost. So where are you? I don't know. That's why I'm lost. Where am I now? Let's establish that first. Next slide. Now, remember what we said, we want to ask ourselves 3 questions as we try to determine what our ideal career path is. What were those 3 questions again? Who am I? What do I love? What do I do well? Lovely. And I don't know if it's because it's there on the screen and you guys, are you guys just super bright? Who am I? What do I love? Wait. Oh my God. We're not ready. Back. Go back. He's just like, yeah, can you get on with it? Okay. Who am I? What do I love? And what do I do well? Now, remember we were talking about some of the mistakes that we make when we're trying to decide on how we're going to, or where we want to go from a career standpoint. Yeah? And that happens at any age. I want a show of hands of those of you who just finished or are about to do CSEC, CAPE, college, or your first job. I don't know why I'm not so afraid to put up on a hand. Put up on a hand. How did you choose your subjects? Amanda closed her eyes and just went, that one. Well, clearly it's working out for you, girl. Keep it up. How did you choose your subjects when you were doing it? Huh? Oh, talk up. You, anybody? You looked at your grades and you said, all right, this look like something that we can do. It look like we can do a thing and it will work. I love that. You picked based on the career that she was most interested in. What did you do, Mikhail? You wanted a... You wanted a prize to pick your subjects? What kind of prize? Did you get the prize? Oh. We need to talk some more about that. Anybody here picked because mommy or daddy or grandma or grandpa said so? My husband goes, there are a couple of hands, one of them, right? And why did they tell you that you should pick the subject that you picked? She said you probably would do well in it, and it would help your career. I'm going to tell you a little secret. As parents, the main reason why we say these things is because we want our children to be wealthy. We want them to pick a job that them can make good money so that we don't have to support them until they're 55. But we're not going to tell you that. We're going to tell you, we want the best for you. But honestly, oftentimes, parents, and as parents we're evolving, right? We tell our children, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, bank manager, accountant, etc., etc., etc. Now, for the evolved parents who know their children and know what their children are great at and what they are made to do because they're so in tune with their children, that's great. But you also have some who are just like, look, you need to pick a safe career. You need the money so that we can do what we need to do and get when you can take care of me when we get old and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. The sad part is that very, very infrequently do we do it in the right way. Now, you're sitting here and you want to know how to do this. There are 3 directions you must look in. What are those 3 directions? Up, down, and around. Close. Oftentimes, what we tend to do is that we look out first. We look at what someone else is doing and say, that look like them doing well. That look like something that makes sense. They're making good money, and them look like them enjoying what they're doing. And probably they are, but they are enjoying what they are doing. Does it mean that you can have the same success? Not necessarily. So, then we tend to look in and go, we can do it? Yeah, we think we can do it. And then you set off on a path that you may not realize is not the right path for you until some 5-10 years later, when you've already committed. And then you feel, I've wasted so much time doing it, I can't turn back now. Has that ever happened to anybody? Or know anybody that it happened to? Asking for a friend, you can say it. How should we approach it? We are people of faith. For those of you online, by the way, I have no manners. Welcome, welcome. The first place that we ought to look is upward. Why? We have to talk to the gentleman who made us. Because guess what? One of the things that often we take for what's the word? Granted, is that we don't realize that we were designed. It wasn't happenstance. We never just drop out of sky. The star never dropped us here. We were designed. Do you know what that means? It means that we were hardwired by the designer with a very specific set of talents, skills, and interests. Now, the designer has a sense of humor. He designs you, then he brings you into the world knowing nothing And then he gives you lots of opportunities to figure it out. So over time, you start to explore things, build experiences, and as you are doing that, what are you doing? You're starting to realize that there are things that you actually like doing, things that you love doing more than like, and things that you don't like doing, and things that you hate doing. But do you come into the world knowing any of that? Do you? You don't. So how do you figure it out? You experience, you explore, you keep an open mind, you don't shy away from any new experience because you never know what you might find. Now, as you grow, your kids, and you start to realize, oh, I like cars. Have you ever heard a 5-year-old say what they want to do when they grow up? I want to be a fireman. I want to be a teacher. What do you want to be, Jordan? I want to be a bank manager. I wonder where he got that from. Right? I want to be and then as our children, because every generation of children gets smarter and smarter thanks to Google, thanks to AI, thanks to everything else. Now, that's what I would have heard a few years back when I asked my 5-year-old who's sitting over there, she's not 5 anymore, she's closer to 13. What do you want to do for a living? She says, I want to be an environmentalist. The point is, if you ask them 3 years after that, what do you want to do? They're probably going to tell you something different. Why? Because as they're learning and as they're growing, they're getting new experiences and they're changing and they're evolving and they're deciding, oh, what do I want to do? Oh, I like this now. And oh, I just realized I like that now, and so on. That learning never stops. And that's why you can do this at any age. Because as you know, become a young adult, you're now in high school, going off into, but who here is in high school? Who here is in university? Right? Every new experience you have teaches you something you didn't know before. True? Or am I method? True. And so as you go, you grow. Make sense? Say that for me. As you go. Boy, you're gonna sound like you're gonna drop asleep on me. You grow. Thank you. All right, so we look upward because we want to go and check in with the designer every now and again and ask for the wisdom to help figure it out. Then you look inward and you ask yourself those questions. And you don't just ask yourself those questions, you write them down. Write down your answers. What do I love doing? Who am I? What do I like? What are my passions? Not just what makes me tick? How many of you have ever sat down and really did some introspection like that? Anybody? Bright spark, yeah. You ever sit down, you have to really sometimes have a conversation with yourself. Because honestly, sometimes you just be going and never stop to think about it. When you're trying to decide something as major as this, you must be in tune to yourself. You must understand who you are. And who you are isn't just a fly-by-night question. It's who am I? I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a Christian, and you know why you need to know who you are? Because there are some career choices that may pay a lot of money, but don't necessarily align with who you are. What do you think is going to happen down the line? Misery. Okay. Next. So then you look outward. Then you look at opportunities. Okay, so now that I have an idea of what I like and what I love and what I do well and who I am, now you start to filter through what the opportunities that are available to you are and decide which direction you want to go in. So, I'm introducing myself. I did this exercise before I came and spoke to you. And when I sat and I thought about it, this is who I am. I am the daughter of the king, right? I'm royalty. I'm a mom of two. I'm a wife of one. I'm a daughter of two. I'm a sister of one. I'm a friend of many. I'm a godmother of four. And I'm an aspiring Proverbs 31 woman. You guys are faith-filled people. You must know what that is. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. My personality, for those of you who know me, any lies told, is most of the people on this side of the room have to answer them. Any lies told? No? Amen. Awesome. I'm creative. I love business and I love solving problems and I love getting to make things work and I love making people happy and I'm energetic and I'm visionary and I'm all of these wonderful things, right? No, that's who am I? I'm going to answer the second question for you as an example. No, wait, that jump out. Anyway, so there's another section that speaks to what I like to do, what I love to do, and what I do well. I'm not sure what happened to those two slides. Oh, there they are. Right. What do I love? I love photography. Always have. I actually didn't realize I could actually do something with it, though, until I was, guess how old? Maybe. Yeah, not bad. Until I was in my 30s. I always used to follow everybody around. I used to take all the pictures with the little, you know, remember the little Kodak dashboard camera them? The one them where you take picture and you have to go carry it, go develop the film. That Jamaicans call it. I had no clue. Even after I got married to that gentleman over there 16 years ago, I was so blown away by the gentleman who took my wedding photos. I still didn't think that I'd be doing that one day as part of my own profession. Didn't have a clue at 32. You know what made me start taking pictures? That little girl came along, and I felt compelled to capture every sneeze, smile, cry, everything. All bodily functions. I was going crazy because this is my first child. And I bought, I'm sorry, she's so mortified right now. It's fine. But I realized I actually had a gift for it when I started doing more of it. And it became something that I could monetize. I want you to think about that. Let's jump back to the designer story. You're hardwired with very specific talents, interests, and things you do well. But God didn't just make you so that He would make us different for the purpose of making us red and yellow, black and white. He did that to give us a way to make a living. Are you connecting with me on that? I want you to think about your talents. I want you to think about the things you're passionate about. I want you to think about the fact that He made you specifically with those things for a reason. How many of you have talents? Every last one of you. How many of you know what your talents are? Most of you. How many of you have ever thought of doing it to monetize, to earn a living? See my bright spark here? Andre over there, somebody back there. Very few of you. You know what that means? You're missing the boat. Think about that. You probably never realized that God made you that way, not just to help others, but to earn. Keep that in mind. I want you to go home and I want you to think, is there a way that I can use my talents to earn. God don't make mistakes. All right? So that's what I loved. Next. What do I do well? By the way, these are photos that I took. I'm a lifestyle photographer, in addition to being an HR practitioner, in addition to doing several other things. And I'll explain that concept to you in a bit. What do I do well? Photography, telling stories, writing, problem solving. Are you seeing an interconnection between who I am, the things that were listed there, what I love, and what I do well? Are you noticing that they're popping up in each slide? Can you tell why that is? They're interconnected. So I'm going to blow you away with another concept. Next slide. Oh, before I blow you away, I want to find out. So I've told you a little bit about me. I want you to think about who you are. And there are 5 characters that I've created for this purpose. And I think each of you fits into maybe 1 or 2 of these characteristics. Let's look at it quickly. What's the first one? The newbie. No, wait. We need to look at the newbie. So who are my newbies? My newbies are my teenagers and my young adults. There you go, right? And does this look like you? I want you to look at that list and tell me if it looked like you. You probably don't have a lot of work experience yet. Maybe a job, maybe 2, maybe none. Your career path, unless you are my friend here who's very clear on what she wants to do, may be a little unclear. You think you might have an idea, but you don't really so sure yet. One thing is for sure, you still have a lot to learn. You think so? You think you have a lot to learn? Yeah? Listen, people in the other categories still have a lot to learn too, right? Right. You're probably in basic acquisition mode. What do I mean by that? Your focus right now is to get 2 main things: more knowledge and more experience. Anything you do right now, and more money. Let's be real. But more money, more knowledge, more experience. Why? Because you're at the very base of your career journey. You're just a start, right? And those are the things that are going to take you forward. So, I have a tip for you. If you are a newbie, I would say, explore. The world is your oyster. You can go any direction you want to go. You are not yet locked into anything. You are a blank slate. Explore holiday and entry-level jobs. That's what you're doing now, right? With Bicep. Go you. Now, how many of you here are a hot stepper? Look at what hot stepper says. Any hot steppers? No hot steppers? Mikhail says he's a hot stepper. You're probably in your 20s to 30s. You're probably already down the road with a little work experience. You do have, in comparison to the newbie, increased awareness about the working world. You also probably know what you like and what you don't like because you've had the chance to experience certain things. Your career path may be becoming more defined as you go. You're probably seeking to acquire your first assets. Car. You probably want to move out of where you are and go get a bigger place. You're probably looking to get into a higher education program, a master's degree, or whatever it is if you already have a bachelor's, or to do a bachelor's if you haven't done it yet. What's the tip for you? You're probably fairly flexible, meaning you're still not, you have some idea, but you're still not pigeonholed into any one thing. Look at what you're doing. Do you love what you do? Are there other areas that you can look at, that you can get into? It doesn't hurt as much to shift. Explore supervisory and mid-tier opportunities in your preferred field if you know what that is. Yeah? Next. The mountain climber. Who's a mountain climber here? Anybody? No? Huh? Raise my hand. I'm in between. I'm actually more closer to the philanthropist. So you're in your 30s to early 40s. Well, yeah, I'm the mountain climber. 10 to 15 years work experience or more. Career path is in sharper focus, right? You have a better idea of what you want to do, right? You're seeking to acquire higher value assets. You want to buy your house. You want to get a little apartment. You're taking your first big money loan, right? You're probably looking to start a family. Tip, seek work-life balance. Invest. Start planning for? You're not too young for that, by the way, now, even if you're a newbie. By the way, that thing comes up on you real fast. All right? The philanthropist, 40s to early 50s, now probably closer to the top of their career game, likely an expert in their field. What's very important about the philanthropist is that they are not like our newbies who may not be too sure. They are very aware of the value that they bring. They will walk into a job interview and tell you how much they are worth because they know. They're likely to be more comfortable in their own skin at that point. Them not negotiating with nobody, right? They're focused on growth. They're focused on leading and guiding the next generation. They're focused on building wealth and a legacy, right? Tip, give back. Create value for others. You're no longer supposed to be so affixed on climbing the corporate ladder. You've gained a good amount of information. You've learned, you've taken some licks. Turn around with the lessons you've learned and pull somebody else up. That is the value that you will bring at that stage. And then you have, what's the term? I didn't say retirees. The sage. Now, those are my young ones. 60s and beyond. Again, very likely C-suite. And do you know what I mean by C-suite? You guys are new to the working world. C-suite means chief. Any job that have the word chief in front of it. Chief executive officer. Chief operating officer. Chief human resources officer. Chief accountant. Chief financial officer. You call it the C-suite, the chief suite, because that's usually where Amanda would be happy. That's where the money comes in. Unless you're the CEO of your own business and maybe not so much money is coming in, but you are doing what you love, and by George, you're going to keep at it. All right? In that phase of your life and career, you're likely approaching or are already retired. And you're looking for your next adventure. I did not say that you were curling up and going to sleep. You're seeking additional income streams, whether through investments or maybe another type of job opportunity. But the most important thing is that you're not just seeking any job. You're seeking a job or some income-bearing opportunity on your own terms. You're not going to go work for nobody for them to come tell you, say you have to work 12 hours a day. You don't want to hear that. You are here to bring your value and leave because you want to go and garden, watch your whatever it is, go fishing, go sailing, go restaurant liming with your friends, you know, in the long talking. You just want to do something that keeps you contributing and keeps you earning to kind of supplement the liquor pension, right? Tip, don't plateau. Do not rest on your laurels. The world today is very different. And we are living longer. And AI is taking away lots of jobs. And things are changing very quickly. And so the plan that you may have had when you were going into retirement have to change real fast because things are changing. And you have to keep up with those changes. You have to stay current. You have to continue to pour into the next generation because you have so much learning and knowledge and passion to give. Coach, mentor, do some consultancy. Write the book you've always wanted to write. Share your expertise and pursue your passions. Next slide. So, does anybody know who they are in this set of things? Let me see the newbies again. And what about the hot steppers? All right. Where are my... Nobody not change yet? Change. Hello. Thank you. Right? Mountain climbers. The philanthropists and the sages. My sages don't want to put up their hand. No. Or you could be a hybrid. Nobody fits one suit. Not everybody will fit the same suit. But it's important to establish where you are so that you will know the next steps you need to take to reach to your destination. All right, next. Have to pick it up. Now, when I put this out, and so many people are saying, at any age, but may not understand you, right? I literally got somebody asking me, am I not too old to change my career path? I'm going to introduce you to two people. You know that face. Everybody in Jamaica knows this face, right? Okay. That gentleman was 65 and broke when he really started getting things going with Kentucky Fried Chicken. 65. 600 franchises later, at the age of 73. Now, that was 600 franchises later. Does anybody have any clue how many franchises of KFC there are right now across the world? No, can't count them, honestly. And then again, in Jamaica alone, I'm still trying to understand what we put in the chicken. I don't know, but, right? This is this gentleman's legacy long after he's gone. He sold, what was that? 65 to 73 is less than, is what, 8 years? You see how the man life changed in 8 years? In 8 years, the man sold his franchise, his shares rather, for $2 million US. That's about $20 million US today. And that was on his 600 franchises. Next. Check out this other lady. You see what's her name? Grandma Moses. Now, at 78 years old, the lady realized that her arthritis was making it very hard for her to keep embroidering. So she picked up painting instead. Between the age of 78 and when she went home to Jesus at 101, I want you to read what happened in those years for me. Time magazine. Yeah? Exhibitions at MoMA. Doctoral degrees. She even has her own day. Right? Now, we could say that at 78, her life literally accelerated. I don't want nobody to ask me again if I'm too old to make a change. And you know, you see how that change was made? She has arthritis to thank for that. God can do anything with you if you're open. Next. Now, we've spoken about where we are. We can change, we can change, we can change. Let's talk about the ideal career. I've been up here and I've been talking and talking and talking. This is the point. Anybody here remember sets in math? I said sets. In maths, Venn diagrams. Does anybody feel really anxious just thinking about them? I do. And maths is not my thing, right? But that's a very important Venn diagram. Why? What do you see? Intersections. What's happening in the intersections? You remember what I said to you about how those three things were interlocking for me, they interlock for you too, you know. And when you go home and you sit with your little notebook and you write down who you are, what you love, and what you do well, you're going to see how they interlock for you too. And somewhere in the middle of all of that is likely to be your ideal career path. Okay? Side note, the frustration that we spoke about that comes with doing jobs that you absolutely dislike have benefits, you know. What are those benefits? Experience. What else? What? Links. Links. In Jamaica, more than anywhere else, where it's 2 degrees of separation, your network is definitely your net worth. It's a big part of it. You know what else it does? If you are smart enough, if you are in tune enough, you won't just complain about those things that have you annoyed and upset. What will you do with that knowledge, guys? You'll try to find a solution. And you know what happens to a lot of those people who find solutions? If you fix a problem that enough people are having, what do you think going to happen? People going to want to pay you lots of money for it. Think about it. Lie me a tell? I'm not lie. So, with those not so good jobs comes experience, lessons learned, innovative ideas, and as Mikhail said, links. I worked for Grace Kennedy for 12 years. I went to the University of Grace Kennedy for 12 years. I learned so much. But you know what the biggest takeaway is? To this day, I can pick up the phone and call so many people who went beyond being my co-workers, to being my friends, to being people who are now in elevated positions, who can give me help, support, advice, make things easier for me if I'm trying to do something, work on something, do a project, solve a problem, start a new business, pick up the phone. And suddenly, what maybe I might have had to pay a whole heap of money to get, Kerri, I'm a friend, man, come let me help you, is a real thing. And I can be that person for them too. Think about it. The people who you work with, they're more than just your co-workers. Look beyond it for the value. Somebody said bring value, be useful, Marlon. Think about the usefulness that you can bring to them and that they can bring to you. Very important, all right? Learn all you can before. Then you move on when the opportunity presents itself. Keep it in mind. Next. Now, I'm going to break out this thing. These Venn diagrams are going to become a little more interesting. Can anybody pronounce that word at the top of the screen? Ikigai. It sounds like a really cool name for like a pet iguana or something, right? But Ikigai is actually a very, very important Japanese concept. Can you see what it means? Your reason for being. And the core concept of Ikigai talks about, what was that I word we were using? The intersections. It actually says that bliss, does anybody know what bliss is? Define bliss. Andre, what is bliss? Bliss. Define bliss. Unexplainable joy, deep down in your soul joy, that you can get when you're doing for a living, what you love, what you are great at, but it adds some other things. What else? What is new about this diagram? What the world needs. You remember what we're talking about when we said to solve a problem that people have? It's because people need it. And you know what that means? What it means? They will pay you for it. Now, those four things, what do? They intersect. Now, you see where what you love intersects with what you're good at? What do you call that? That is your passion. I'm going to take this down a bit. And then, where what you love intersects with what the world needs, what is that? It becomes your, I can't hear you, mission. And where what the world needs intersects with what you can be paid for, it becomes your vocation. And where what you're good at intersects with what you can be paid for, what is that again? Your profession. So if you were to look at the exact point that all of those things intersect, what do you call that? What do you call that? It is there on the board. Ikigai. It is where you find unexplainable joy. The answer to life. Why God put you here in the first place. Now, when you have unexplainable joy, does the money matter so much? Not really. But it doesn't mean you're not getting it. Let's talk some more about that. So, you're getting that feeling. Okay, so you see the little spots where you have the dots? There's a little space where you're just short of ikigai. So, where your passion, what you love, and what you're good at intersect, you have satisfaction, but you have a little bit of a feeling of usefulness. And you're probably not making very much money because it's not necessarily something that people will pay you to do. Have you been seeing, for some of our younger young ones who are on social media, have you been seeing Brownie? Anybody know who we're talking about? The dog, the AI dog, Brownie. I see two ladies back there shaking their head. Yeah. When him say, every time you know the money, you say, you broke like dog. Which dog, Keisha? Which dog? Right? You might be a little bit on the broke side if you are constantly pursuing something that you love to do, but that the world isn't paying you for. On the other side, if you are doing something that the world needs and you're being paid for, you will be making the money, but it's not what you necessarily, and you love it, but it's not necessarily what you're good at. You may have some excitement, you could have some complacency, but you're still uncertain because you don't trust your own competencies. In that other spot, what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs, you have delight and fullness, but no money, etc., etc., etc. Right? And where Mikhail was talking about with the people, I'm very excited come payday and no other day. Where you're being paid for it, you're doing what you're good at, and it's what the world needs, but you do not love it. What happens to you? You're comfortable, but you're empty. Keep those things in mind. All right, next. So your ideal career is likely at the intersection of what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be. What? Want to fall asleep on me already? Paid for, correct. Next slide, please. Now, are you on your ideal career path? For my younger ones that are just coming out of school, this is not for you. But for those of us who are already in gainful employment, or were in gainful employment, or are looking to be in gainful employment, think about where you were or where you are. Have you ever heard of the square hole round peg syndrome? Anybody hear about that? Yes. You know what it means? Somebody say what it means. What it means. A mismatch. If you look at those two on this side, the red circle in the square and the blue square in the circle, do they fit? They fit in it, you know. But notice what's happening around the inside. What's happening? There are gaps, which means you're not entirely fulfilled, are you? But that green circle is full. There's no space. How many of us feel like either of those two things over here in their current? I hope there's nobody watching, but anybody? Just give me a wink or a, nobody else don't have to know. There are a lot of people who are walking around like that every single day. And there are far fewer people who feel like that number one diagram. Yeah? How does that make you feel? When you're in either a square hole, round peg situation. What do you think it feel like? How it make you feel? Burned out, burdened, all of those not so positive B words. Next slide, and I'll tell you how you feel. Tired. You ever talk to somebody who no matter when you call them, they're always tired? Boy, I'm tired, I'm stressed out. Nobody saw this, but my son at the back of the room went, "That's you, mommy." And it's true. But it's not because I don't like what I do. Tiredness, stress, frustration, personal and professional misalignment. You feel disconnected. You feel dissatisfied, depressed, desolate. Low self-esteem and self-worth. Lack of clarity around your purpose. Anybody wants to keep feeling like that? No. And that's why you need to relook. If you are feeling this way, here is your sign. It means you need to do something about it. It is not sustainable. It impacts your health. High blood pressure is a thing. Strokes and heart attacks are a thing. I'm hoping my father is not looking at me right now, because I do work under lots of stress and pressure. Right? Not just that. You're probably the worst person to work with. Think about that. You're probably not the best person to sit beside for 8 hours for somebody else. If you're a nurse or a doctor, and every time you go into that room to see that sick patient, you're coming with a sour face, this is not the job for you. If you're in that classroom and those children are driving you absolutely nuts, and you are just short of telling them how many things make up their bodies, this is not the job for you. If you are sitting behind a desk and all you can do is sit on Instagram and Facebook and read the paper and drink tea and pretend to be working so that they don't pick up that you're actually not. Hint, hint, this is not the job for you. Okay? Now, if you were to follow my foolish advice and make a change, and I try to identify that ideal career path for yourself and actually take the steps that you need to take to get there, you know what's going to happen? You're going to flip that switch. You notice that, no, but not yet. That's not the switch I was wanting you to flip. Go back, please. Back, back, back. Thank you. Instead, as you do something that you're passionate about every day and you love doing what you do, and you just what do you think is going to happen to you? Think about it now. Your energy levels are through the roof. You can't see yourself doing anything else. You get up thinking of new ways to do the things that you're doing because you just want to keep getting better and better and better at it. You want to keep going out and serving those people. Even if you not get the money right away, you just want to do it. You need to do it. You have to do it. It's a compulsion. You know why? Because that is what you were designed to do. And you finally figured it out. High energy, high performance levels, sense of purpose and increased self-worth, engagement, fulfillment. Somebody said that's what they wanted to get out of their working life. Dedication, happiness, joy, opportunities for self-actualization. That's a big word. Does anybody know what self-actualization is? Yes? No? Jordan, what's self-actualization? Achieving your goals. You're right, boy, man, smarty. I'm a same father. But not just achieving any goal. Achieving your absolute pinnacle. You can't get no better. Now, is that really realistic? Can you actually achieve your pinnacle? Yeah? No? Remember what I said. You can never stop learning. But it feels really good when you're pretty darn close. It's something to keep aspiring towards. Next slide, please. So, somebody said it. If you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. Can you see why that is so? Fun fact, those are my feet. I was on a job. Someone hired me to shoot their villa in Ocho Rios. I went, I shot it, I staged it, I did lots of things for it. They took those photos, they made lots of money because it was their Airbnb. And that was my office for the day. Could you think of worse places to spend a work day? I could. And then they paid me for it. And I was very happy. Why? Because I was doing what I absolutely loved to do. The client was a little difficult. That is an understatement. But it was still doing something I loved to do. I always said to people when they talk to me about photography, if I never have to pick, I need to go supermarket. I do it for free. That's how you know when you love something. Next slide. What does that top line say? You see that journey name coming up again? Is your ideal career path a destination? Can you get there and stop going? Not really. Because even after retirement, there's still so much more you can do. It's a journey. Steve Jobs said the only way to do great work, he never said good work, he never said half work, he never said kind of all right work, he said great work, is to love what you do. Remember the example I gave you about the nurse with the sore face coming in every morning and the people them sitting down and making everybody's life miserable? It's to love what you do. It's to not be that person. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking. Don't settle. As with all matters of the... How many of you thought that your career was a strategic thing? That it was a brain thing? Most people thought so. Yeah, some transactions, what I do for a living. No. You have to love it. You have to feel something when you think about what you do for a living. Okay. And, as with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And I think he knew a thing or two about loving what you do. So it's a destination. Have you ever heard that thing, are we there yet? Not yet. It involves defining what you want, like, or love, and where you want to be. That's the same exercise we told you about. It's arming yourself with the knowledge and skills you need. That means in school. That means in other ways. How many of you have you ever had a mentor? How did that work out for you? Did it work out for you? It did. It meant that you had somebody who was an expert in a field who was giving you free advice about how to be better at what you did. That's priceless. Experimenting with several jobs and opportunities. You don't need to do just one thing for the rest of your life. Think about things that, as I said, look back at your talents, look back at what you love to do, look at what you do well, and experiment with jobs and opportunities in that area. Fine-tune your vision. Retool. You'd never stop learning. Search for opportunities in your preferred field. Consult with and understudy the experts. Each of these things is a step along or in the direction of your preferred career path. Next. Now, how do you keep focused? Sometimes the options look like that. It can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes you can be on a track and doing it and lose your way. Forget why you're doing what you're doing. As Andrea said to me before, keep thinking about your why. As well as that, if you keep asking yourself these 3 questions in succession as you go along your path, where am I going again? Where am I now? How do I close the gap? If you keep doing that methodically, what is going to happen to you? You're going to keep moving towards your goal. That makes sense? Yep. Next slide. Now, the last concept that I'm going to tell you about today is a very big word that starts with the letter M. Who can pronounce the word on the screen? Oh my gosh, isn't that a nice word? Not really? Oh, it is for me. What is a multipotentialite? It's a long word. What is a multipotentialite? Multiple talents. You're onto something. Who here has ever been told that you can only do one thing in your life? Nobody. That's great. Somebody told you that you could only do one thing. You have to focus on that one thing. Some person over there. Okay. Right? Are true? Is it the truth? No. It's not. If God has given you multiple talents, guess what? He expects you to do more than one thing because he designed you that way. So, newsflash. And by the way, I learned this lesson when I was about 35. No, 32, same time. Somebody said to me, my mentor, who worked with me, by the way, which is a very odd place to get information like this, why do you think you only have to do HR? I said, because that's what pays the bills. That's what I'm being groomed for. That's what I do for a living. So why you don't think you can do photography too? I was mind blown because I'd never thought of it. I was always doing it, loving it, but I never thought to myself I could do both of them. So, what is a multipotentialite? If you have more than one career interest and the aptitude, so can everybody do it well? Not really. It takes a certain level of grit to be focusing on multiple things at the same time. Some people will tell you it's a recipe for disaster if not done right. But if you have the energy and ability to pursue it, go for it. There are a couple of superpowers that a multipotentialite has. Combining 2 or more fields and creating something new at the, what's that word again? Intersection. They're able to learn quickly and adapt quickly and do. They can create opportunities and integrate the different things that they do to make 1 or 2, income earning things. Remember when I said I liked design? I love interior design. Remember when I said I liked photography? Yeah? You remember when I said I love entrepreneurship? So one of the genres of photography that I do is properties. What does that mean? People pay me to come and decorate their space, then shoot the space, and then put it out. They put it out on Airbnb, and people come and they make a whole heap of money and whatever, whatever. I was able to integrate those three things. It's possible if you are looking for the opportunities. Next slide. But you really have to be sure that it is for you. What are the superpowers? They tend to have advanced cognitive abilities. They tend to be very flexible people. They tend to be very adaptable. They tend to be able to self-direct. They don't necessarily need somebody to teach them. They go out and learn it for themselves, right? They're creative, right? But there are challenges. What are some of the challenges? They tend to be very indecisive because guess what? They're always seeing all the potential opportunities. Sometimes it will drive them nuts because they really want to run off in all the different directions, but that is a recipe for a heart attack, right? They tend to sometimes have lack of focus, so it's something that they need to be very, very intentional about managing that. Sometimes they tend to rely on their talents too much, and sometimes a lot of them experience something called, what's the word? Imposter syndrome. Have you ever heard that term? It's when you know you're good at something, but something in the back of your mind keep telling you, yeah, but there's this little thing that you're really not that good at, and you would never want anybody to find out about that, would you? Because then they'll know that you're really a fake. And then you sit and you think about it, and it weighs you down. And so sometimes that can happen. What's the worst thing that can happen to a multi-potentialite? Too many things running in too many directions can lead to burnout. So it has to be controlled. Now, next slide. Has anybody ever heard this? Jack of all trades, but a master of none. How many of you ever heard that? Is it usually something good? When somebody say, yeah man, I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. It don't sound very positive, does it? No. But how many of you knew that there was more to that phrase? Go, Shade. The full thing actually says, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but what? But oftentimes better than a master of none. Of one, sorry. My newbies. This is something that's very particularly important to you, and I'll tell you why. Read that part. This is an adaptation to the saying that this guy named Richie Norton said. Jack of all trades or master of one. If you're a master of one, you'll soon be a master of none. Times are a-changing. Be a jack of all trades, or better, a master of many. You know why this is so important? Anybody ever hear a little thing named artificial intelligence? How much do you use ChatGPT every day? My husband is at the back in denial. You don't use it? You're in a church, Marlon. What is AI doing to the jobs that we knew were solid jobs? Mikhail says making them easier to do. True. And one day, they're going to be so easy that you're not going to have a job anymore. How many of you are actually worried about that? Be honest. It's frightening. You're not frightened? But you don't have a job yet. You are. Oh, well, if you do get a job, it means you'd have gotten that last job. But I know what you mean. The point is, guys, that times are changing rapidly. And the things that we used to pay people to do are now as easy as ChatGPT, please write. ChatGPT, please create. Now, the skill set is no longer knowing what to do. The skill set is now knowing how to write the right prompt. True? That's the new skill set. However, at least now, thank God, there's still a place for experts because is ChatGPT 100% reliable? And a lot of people will take garbage out of it because it gives you what people put into it. However, don't rest on your laurels. Why? Because ChatGPT, not ChatGPT, but AI is learning at such a rapid rate that every day it becomes more knowledgeable, more intuitive, more adept at doing things that people would have taken hours to do in seconds. I will give you an example. And this one scared the daylights out of me. One of my partners at work she was preparing a presentation on my behalf. And they know me. They know that every time I read something, I'm going to make 3,000 changes. You know what she said? She told me the other day, and she's like, I have something to tell you. I said, what? Remember that thing I wrote for you the other day? I said, yes. She said, I can tell you a secret. What happened? I used AI to do it. I said, really? And you had no corrections. You know why? I said, why? She said, because, do you know what I put in as my prompt? I said, what? She said, write this document as if you were Kerri-Ann Smith Berrick of Fidelity HCM. Kerri-Ann Smith Berrick does not have an account on ChatGPT. Kerri-Ann Smith Berrick has never put anything into ChatGPT about herself. ChatGPT gave me something that sounded like I wrote it, and I had nothing to do with it. I want you to think about what that means 10 years from now. So not to scare you, but we have to be very deliberate about the things we are choosing as our career paths now. Knowledge-based jobs are seeing a decline because AI is little by little taking away what we would have done using this for years. So, my newbies and my sages and everybody in between, go forth, pick your career path, but do it wisely. There are jobs today that never existed 10 years ago. What if you were to ask somebody 20 years ago what an influencer is? What do you think they'd tell you? An influencer is what that? Somebody what? Somebody who will lead you into bad company. Well, I'm going to tell you that influencers are one of the highest paid jobs now. And we don't know what it will look like in 5 years. Jordan, why are you active, sir? You want to be an influencer. I am an influencer. You are an influencer. I'm going to have a conversation with him when we're through. Noted. So, go forth. Coming back to the multi-potentialite. You can pick one, you can pick two, you can pick a few, but be smart about it. Check out Mr. Jack of all trades over here. Do you see what he does for a living? Let me read it for you. He's a general dealer of hardware, hoop skirts, dried goods, molasses, putty, cakes, grindstones. He also does teeth extractions and shoes mending. Don't be that guy. Chances are you probably do not want to go to him to extract anything from your body, right? He's always employed. You see, that's a silver lining. He's always employed. He's quite an adaptable fellow, you would say, right? Dad says he sounds like a Jamaican. And for those of you who are online and overseas, I'm sure you can agree. So, find practical ways, relevant ways to integrate your passions into 2, maybe 3, not 30, innovative, complementary products or services that people want and will pay for. So when you go back tonight or tomorrow and you're doing your little notes, keep those things in mind. Keep Ikigai in mind. What does the world, aside from what you do well, what you love, what does the world need? What will they pay you for? Run your own talents through that filter. See what you come up with, right? But please don't be Mr. Jack of all trades over here with him teeth extraction and shoes mending. All right, next. Next. So, we started out earlier and I told you who I was, what I loved, what I did well. I'm on a journey too, you know. Where am I now? Right now, I'm an HR practitioner. That's my corporate passion. I have my own business. I worked with these amazing companies. I did my studies to prepare me to do the work I do today. But I also have a creative passion. I am what you call a, starts with M, multi-potentialite. I'm also the lead photographer and creative director of Imagery by Kerri-Berrick. That's my creative passion. Weddings, portrait, property photography. Remember what we said about being a multi-potentialite? Oftentimes their learning is self-driven. I never went to school for photography. I learned it through doing it and through YouTube. I was self-taught, but God placed a talent in me, and God knows that I am so stretched now, and I'm still trying to balance it too, but I can't, if someone says to you, cut it off and get rid of it, I'll feel like something is missing. And that's how you know it's something that you're supposed to be doing. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have several projects going. I'm trying to solve lots of problems. I'm trying to do lots of things. At the very base of it, I'm trying to create as much value as I can for every single person that I come across, every one of you included. I don't know when I'm going to kick the bucket, but I'm hoping that whenever I do, you will remember this Saturday afternoon that you spent with me. You will remember the key points I shared with you about how to what? What was the presentation about? How to identify your ideal career path, and that you will do something about it, okay? And next, if you need a little help, it's what I do for a living. Next slide, please. Please. Next slide, please. Okay. If you need a little help with the journey, my team and I are here for you, right? FidelityHCM.com. You can go there, you can drop us a little line, you can say, hey, I need a little help with figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing for a living. Or, you know, I'm thinking to make that switch. Or, are you aware of any opportunities in that area? Drop us a note. We're more than happy to help you. And by the way, as much as we've spoken about AI being a little scary, it absolutely is very, very helpful. It is a very powerful tool if used right. A number of the tools that we use every day as we are assessing talent, as we're doing recruitment for jobs, for clients, as we're doing lots of things. We use it every day responsibly. All right? So, now I will ask you, how you feel after me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk in your ears? Have you learned anything? And do you have, I see the yes. And do you have any questions for me? If you do, take the stage. And Mr. Mikhail, I don't know if you've been looking online. I don't know if anybody's been asking questions or saying anything or anything. Not as yet, good. Hopefully it means that it's because we've been so thorough and helpful and informative. Any questions? You all are okay. Go ahead. So everybody can hear you.
Testing. Okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so my issue with the ideal career path, I find that in the work world, while you may start a job to do A, B, C, D, they add and any other duties, which includes many things that you may dislike doing. So you still like your job, but you dislike these other things that you have to do that you don't have a choice but to do them. So it could be that you start out a job and you love it, but then you realize when you're getting overwhelmed with all of these things you don't like, you start to dislike your job. So how is it that you manage this thing actually is your sort of ideal career, but there are these little additions that you dislike, and I don't think they're significant enough to say that this is not your area. It's just how do you manage that aspect? That's my question.
That's a long question, Mikhail. But I got it. Thank you. But it's a great question. And you know what I'm going to tell you? Mindset makes all the difference. So, you remember what I said on that slide about the frustrations of working in a space? The sad part and the good part is that as much as it is annoying to you to be doing 3 other people's work, by the way, newbies, welcome to the working world. Zara's like, I don't want to go into the working world. You'll never have the perfect situation. Even if you own your own business and you have all the power to make it what you want it to be, you'll never have the perfect situation. So it comes now down to your mindset. You need to know how to evaluate that job to determine whether you are still getting out of it what you need to get out of it. There is a balance. When that scale starts to tip in the direction of, okay, I'm no longer learning, I'm not going any further in this job, I'm getting more stress, or the job is taking out of me more than it is pouring into me, it may be time for you to re-examine your position. Now, when you do get the opportunity to leave that job, there is an upside to the whole heap of 3,000 job and work what you have to do. Because guess what? Now, you are moving forward with more knowledge and expertise than what you would have gotten doing just your one job. You never know how that experience could, through the fire, have been preparing you for the next better job that actually required all of these things that you now have. And you never know, God has a sense of humor, how you going into that job interview and being compared to all the other people that they interviewed that day, because you have this and this and this and this and this experience, you actually end up being the most attractive candidate because you are versatile. So it is a balancing act. You do have to look at it and make sure that you're getting out of it what you need. You do have to know when the time is right to move. By the way, if you have a mortgage and you have a student loan and you have a car payment, please do not go, I'm gone. That's a bad idea. unless you have something else in your back pocket that pays you something and can still allow you to go to the supermarket every day and pay JPS and NWC. All right? So keep those things in mind. It could be that God is preparing you for something bigger and that this is the preparation. It could also be what will give you a heart attack and kill you. You need to know when to move. And I will say to you, by the way, you've heard of the whole concept of multiple streams of income? Newbies, you've heard that concept. It's a real thing. As an HR professional, I've always looked at persons who have their own businesses on the side, who have done a little side hustle, I love those people. You know why? Because they are broad. They think, they see the big picture, because in their business, they are not just the person doing the main work. They are the accountant, the HR, the marketing person, the IT person, the this, the that, the operations person. They know what it takes to run a business. So when they come into my business, they have more value to give to me because they see more than the person who is just there to push the little red button. Why that them pay me for, so that me go do. Nah, do nothing else. So keep those things in mind. Did that answer your question? You sure? Okay. Know when to quit, but don't quit if you don't have an opportunity. Always have a backup plan, whether that is savings or some other means of earning income. Any other questions? You're good? You're good. Good. Well, next slide. Next slide. So when Amanda was introducing me, you heard this at the end. Just in case you didn't, I want you to read it for me aloud. Who feels inspired by that? Nobody? Oh. Don't feel that you must shrink yourself into a box to make others comfortable. Live the life you are put here to live. Other than that, you are doing yourself and the people who you could have helped a major disservice. Got it? Good. Next. Thank you so much for listening to me go on and on. Hopefully you have gotten something out of today. Go home and do your homework. Thank you, guys. Need a little help? Hey, I got a present. I'm trying to put this back up.
Thank you for teaching us and helping us know how to find our ideal career, the differences between what a career is and what a job is, ikigai, multi-potentialites, all of that. And thank you for helping us kind of get closer to that path of what we really want to do.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Anthony Allen to do the vote of thanks. And thanks, Mikhail, for that presentation to Kerri.
Good evening, my brothers and sisters. When I was asked to do the vote of thanks, I thought that I could just say thank you and have my seat. Well, I've been listening to the presentation. I realize that it's just a little bit more than that, and I have to probably step it up a little bit because of the professional way in which our presenter, Mrs. Smith, Berrick. Okay, Berrick. Okay. I've presented the for us this afternoon and going into the evening. I thought that it was quite instructive of most of what she has said, and most of us, particularly for myself, who are probably not a newbie, we're on the other side of the scale. A sage, yes. I mean, when I was choosing my career path, all the areas that you mentioned, I didn't take that into consideration. I thought that I'm good at maths and English, therefore engineering is my thing, and that was what I made my decision based on. But I'll say, as life goes on and I get more delve into my career, I realized that, hey, that was probably a choice for me. I didn't approach it in a structured way that you have instructed the newbies, and I think they will probably move away with it much more in tune with what they are to do when they choose a career. This talk here this evening, when the brothers and sisters got together, we said that we thought that with the changing trends in employment, the advent of AI and stuff like that, then it's probably a lot of, as you mentioned, a lot of the careers that was what we call, that is, after you leave school, was available to you, will no longer be available in the near future and go in the future going further down the line. So I think it was quite instructive that the guidelines that you have presented to them for choosing a career would benefit them and benefit all of us, even at that stage where we are. So, Ms. Kerri-Ann Smith, we thank you very much for presenting in the manner that you have done. I'd take some notes that in terms of what the pointers that you have given us. One, know who you are and what are your strengths and weaknesses. A job, difference between a job and a career. I think that's quite important because it's a job, it's just a job. You give you a salary at the end of the month or a week or whatever, but a career is what you have to do every single morning, as you pointed out. You have to do that, go to that place of work every single day, 8 hours or 12 hours or even probably 24 hours sometimes for some of us who have that sort of career where it takes you right through the night at times. So we're entirely grateful, and we trust that it's not falling on deaf ears, the pointers that you have made for us this afternoon into the evening, and we trust that our newbies will find great assets and be benefit of what you have said to them, and that they take it up. The matter of AI have quite a bit of a challenge, and I'm trust that when they choose a career, that they will bear that in mind. What is the new trend in employment status going in the world, not only Jamaica, but in the world at large, because most of our people are now looking for employment overseas, and they have to bear that in mind. And you were quite instructive as to how they should go about, the pointers that you have presented to them. I think it would be quite instructive and beneficial to all and sundry at the end of the day. So on behalf of the organizing committee, we want to thank you. We know you could have been there Saturday. Most persons are busy on a Saturday afternoon. Family, you have a family, and you could have been elsewhere, but you choose to be with us this afternoon. So we are entirely grateful and extend our sincere gratitude for you to having coming to us this afternoon and spare the time to instruct us, I say in a very, very professional way, as to how we should go about choosing a career. I also want to thank the committee that put together this seminar here, the Brotherhood, here's my notes, okay. The Federation, Women's Federation, GIFT, and the 412 generation for organizing the seminar. As I think it's a very successful meeting of the minds, and we are entirely grateful for the work done and put in by this committee. In particular, sometimes when you can just call names, you would probably run the risk of leaving out persons who have contributed, particularly if they are in the background. But I think Amanda and Melanie, Malini, yes, are to be commended for putting out the flyer at such a short notice and as part of our advertising campaign. And it was very well done, very put together, and we are very grateful for that. The church office and the communication group who put forward the audio and the visuals, we are entirely grateful for this. Also, the persons from who have been here this afternoon into the evening and be very attentive and made the presenter feel welcome, we want to thank you also. In closing, I just want to thank you again, our presenter, Mrs. Kerri-Ann Smith, Berrick, and we trust that God will keep and guide you, and that in the future, we'll probably have reason again to call upon your services and expertise to help us along as we go forward. So may God bless and keep you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Allen. And I've even been told that we should try to have this every year and make it also a part of BICEP. So, Kerri, I don't know if you're willing to come, and we'll just, organize it properly. So as you BICEPers come in, Kerri will present to you, and we can improve going forward. But as Brother Allen covered everything, just saying thanks to everyone for coming, and I will invite Ms. Sante Davis to close in a word of prayer.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you so much, dear Lord, for bringing us here together, dear Father, for understanding that you, dear Father, you created us in a way, dear Lord, that it's just so unique, dear Father, and we have different things to bring to the table. Heavenly Father, no matter where we are in life right now, in whatever season we are there, Lord, I pray that you will help us to understand who we are, dear Father, what we love, dear Father, and what we do well, dear Lord, that will help us to bring forth our ideas, dear Father, and put us right on the great and amazing career path that you have in store for us. Thank you for our speaker, dear Father. I pray her basket will always be full in abundance, dear Father. Thank you for all the persons who have attended this seminar, dear Lord, and I pray that they will leave understanding something new about themselves, gaining something insightful, dear Father, that they can put to their life, dear Father, to work. Thank you, dear Lord, for making the space, dear Father, for us to be here. And we want to thank you so much once more for a beautiful day. And I pray, dear Lord, that everybody here will have a wonderful week, dear Father, as we look to you for guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I forgot one more person to thank. Thank you to everyone who was online, who managed to participate, and I'll just say enjoy the rest of your evening. Everyone, those in chapel and online. Oh, Uncle Ibe was saying thanks, communications. I think Brother Allen thanked them, but thank you, communications team, for the online stream and the link, and just managing the slides and the audio and the visuals. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your evening.